In this video, I'm going to break down to you what is a growth designer and how growth design can help businesses grow. It's in the name, but specifically, I'm going to break down how this applies, the process and the system that you can use to be able to consistently apply the principles of growth design. And also, I'm going to show you how to measure the impact of the work that you do as well. So let's go into this video and let's break it down today. All right, so for those of you that don't know, my name is Laith Wallace and this is Wallace TV. On this channel, I share advice, tools, and motivation to help you improve your life through creative advice. Specifically, I want to go now into growth design and how it works. So the key thing I want you to understand is that using the principles I'm about to share with you, we've been able to use our framework to help increase the lead generation, the growth of the businesses that I've been able to work with simply by applying the scale framework. And I'm going to break it down to you later today. The key thing I want you to understand is that as I've worked across multiple different companies and different sizes from British Airways, Nestle, HomeServe, Iowa, Costen, Aviva, and many others, I've learnt these principles over a number of years, roughly about 14 years now, to be able to really break down a simple framework to help me apply the principles of growth design as I work with companies going forward. My background as a product designer is the core essentials of what I do. I've also worked with marketers over a number of years to be able to know how to generate leads for businesses. So what is growth design? And let's go into it today. The key thing I want you to understand, and I got this specifically from this book here, it's called Hacking Growth by Churn. Really great book. He basically has this quote. It's a bit long, but I want to read it to you today. So in this quote, he says, a core mandate for growth teams is to find every last bit of growth potential through a laser-like focus on continuous testing, a lot of tweaks to products, its features, the messaging to users, as well as the means by which they are acquired, retained, and generate revenue. Intrinsic to the method is also the search for new opportunities for product development, whether by assessing customer behavior or feedback, or perhaps experimenting with new ways to capitalize on new technologies such as machine learning and artificial intelligence. Churn Ellis's book, Hacking Growth, How Today's Fastest Companies, Growing Companies Drive Breakout Success. So the key things I want to highlight from what he says: continuous testing, search for new opportunities, and experimenting with new technologies. So the key thing, and this book is really brilliant. If you ain't got it, just definitely get a copy for yourself. Other growth designers, what you're doing is you're always in this testing, experimentation phase, looking at new opportunities. This is where you're really focusing your energy and your attention. So I build out landing pages, I build out funnels, I optimize on onboarding processes, I work on the product development, I improve user journeys. As a product designer and then into growth design, this is all a part of what we're doing to be able to make sure this company is able to grow. One of the ways we can improve growth outside of things a revenue team or a finance team or an operations team will do as a designer is we're working on ways we can improve the user experience, the core user experience of the product, from website right the way through to the actual product itself. So the key thing I share is that he basically breaks down, I think it's on page, is it 114? Yeah, on page 114, you see this 4-step diagram on page 114. And on this page, he breaks this down. So your first stage, you have analyze, which is discovering promising new growth opportunities through qualitative and quantitative data dives. He breaks down the ideate phase, the next stage, where you're generating a hypothesis for growth experiments that are likely to move the needle. Then you go into the prioritize phase, determining which experiments to pursue with a rigorous prioritization process. Then we get into the test your experiments to see which ones produce the biggest growth wins. Now, I use this as a foundational model to be able to create my own growth tests to be able to improve growth for the companies I've worked on. Recently, I worked with a company called Iridium Law, and what we did was we took their old website, redesigned it in 2022. They came back to me in 2024 last year and we redesigned it again because they went through a rebrand. Now, the goal here was not just about, okay, I just want a pretty design. It was specifically focused on generating leads and helping the company grow. So what we focused on was taking specific pages that we knew drive their biggest amount of traffic and using that 4-step process. And then I created a 5-step process, and I'll break that down to you soon, is how can we test this page to make it better because they were able to generate most or highest value customers through this page. So we said, all right, let's break down the different elements of the page, from the tagline, the headline, the subtext. We looked at the images and the quotes that people will call out, the call out text, and all of these things that we had looked at just on this one page and then optimize this page specifically for conversion. Because the actual test or the hypothesis was that if we make changes to those specific areas, I'll go back here, 2, 3, 4, 5, just these 5 changes, the hypothesis, if we make changes to just these specific 5 areas, this will automatically improve the page for conversion, because the goal here is to get people to book a call. So simply by changing that tagline, we spoke to how many customers they've served. The headline spoke to the 3-step process to recover outstanding debts quickly and efficiently with zero stress on your end. Why? Because we spoke to customers, we understand their frustrations and what their actual goal or desired end is, and then we can speak to that directly by applying that into the headline. We change the subtext to be more benefit-driven bullet points. So, and we try to use numbers to quantify, because it's easier in someone's mind to quantify the actual benefits in numbers. So we said recover debts 2x faster. We could have said faster, but it's 2 times faster compared to before. Save 10 plus hours by letting us handle it, because we know when speaking to people that they were extremely frustrated just going through this debt process, consolidating all their debt, and then it'd take them days, if not weeks. We were able to help them do it in under 10 hours. So you can see here also we have a kind of, the image reflects the end result of joy, and then we have this kind of like call out quote or text to highlight where the customer receives benefits. So what did it do? From 1.5% conversion rate on the first page to 12.5 conversion rate just on this page alone. So it shows that when we actually have these tests, we look at proven areas where we can make changes, we can make a massive impact as well. Also, when we looked at the whole page, when we looked at conversion across the full website of all of their pages, we were able to move them from 5.75% to 23.5% increase in conversion simply by making the changes. And then I got a 5-star review from this person that I worked with at the team, the legal director, Sarah. So it shows that by making these changes, you can make massive improvements really, really fast. And I've, as a result of this, created a scale framework, SCALE scale framework, to be able to make these changes. I'll break it down to you now. So scale is strategy. So this is where you know the business goals, you aim your efforts to hit it, and you stay locked in. Similar to the kind of initial analyze phase from Sean Ellis's, but that is really, we're analyzing strategy. That's the first stage. The next one is customer insights. I felt like in the Sean Ellis's model, it's almost a given, but I really wanted to highlight it as a no, we're going to learn what people need, find their problems, use data to really be our guides to make what we call DD, so data-driven decisions. That's our focus. Next, we're going to go A, which is agile experimentation. Try ideas fast, see what works, drop what doesn't, and move quickly. The goal here is to experiment quickly. We have like maybe 1 to 2 weeks of testing. Then we review, see what feedback we're getting, and we move on, and we continuously out experimenting all the way through. We're leveraging design, because I'm a product designer. We build things people love. We make it simple, make it work, launch, test designs fast. The goal here is to move quickly, not to be slowed down by bureaucracy, if that makes sense. Like you're having to get so many layers of feedback. The idea here is speed up the process, come to the team members with designs, come to them ready to show them the changes, have your hypothesis and your experimentation broken down, then go to people with real feedback versus asking for permission to be able to make changes. The last one is about evaluation. This is where we're checking the results, looking at the numbers, keeping improving. So we're tracking our quantitative and qualitative data. We're making decisions to help us move faster as we go forward as well. So what actually is a growth designer? I didn't break it down before, but let me go into it even more. So a growth designer comprises of 2 key things. This is growth, and the second one is design. On the growth side, you're focused on metrics driven, experimentation, customer insights, marketing alignment, and scalability. All of these come together on the growth side. Now on the design side, we're going into user-centered. We're interaction design. We're looking at brand consistency, problem solving, high fidelity design. I really want to touch on this on the design side, especially on the brand point. I might go into another video on this, because sometimes in the market you might find like someone else is offering a similar tool and people are competing on price. The one metric that is the USP is brand. So anyway, especially as a growth designer, you can implement aspects of the brand, the messaging, the visuals, the graphics, etc., to elevate how that comes across in your experimentation. That also is a metric, an underutilized metric that so many people don't really focus on. And after working with marketing teams and brand designers, I've begun to really pay attention to the power of brand as we go forward. So The growth designer is that unique middle where you are the intersection of data-informed design, cross-functional collaboration, rapid iteration, growth mindset, impact-driven. This is where you're focusing on as a growth designer. This is really where you sit in the interaction or intersection of product marketing and engineering. You are the person that helps to liaise the business goals, understand the business goals, and really go deep across these three areas to utilize the key expertise that you should have, and also that you can utilize within a team to be able to make your experimentation work. So you're on the marketing side, this is about user acquisition, customer optimization, referral systems, and brand alignment, and making sure that all of these come together to help you in your experimentation. On the engineering side, you're going to be clear on like what experimentation plans are you doing? How do you do performance optimization? How do you have feature scalability and prototyping embedded into what you are doing as well? On the product side, we're thinking about user retention, onboarding flows, feature prioritization, data-informed design. I can go even further. I wanted to keep it at a quick high level just to make it make sense. But the focus here as a growth designer is in this intersection to be data-driven insights, cross-functional collaboration, and really have a holistic and clear growth strategy. Remember, similar to the Sean Ellis model, similar to my scale framework, experimentation is at the heart of what you're doing. Remember, you're trying to search for new opportunities, look for emerging technology, and find as many relevant opportunities as possible for growth, because this is the goal. So what's some key growth KPIs and how you measure? So from an measurement standpoint, I like to break it down in these key areas. So acquisition KPIs, engagement KPIs, and revenue KPIs. Think of it as acquisition side, we're looking at signups, customer CPA, cost per acquisition, traffic volume, conversion rates, for example. And there's so much more that we can look at, but this is kind of at a high level where you'd pay attention. On the engagement side, we're looking at active users, we're looking at retention, and on active users, we're looking at DAU, MAU, so we're looking at daily active users, monthly active users, paying attention to those metrics and seeing how we can make a change. We're looking at retention rate, time spent, session frequency. You can also look at things like time on page, what do people engage with on the page. So then we're leveraging tools like Hotjar, Google Analytics, Microsoft Clarity, Heap, and so many others to be able to make decisions. Then on the revenue side, this is where we're looking at customer lifetime value. We're looking at churn rate. We're looking at average revenue per user. We're looking at upsells, expansion revenue, and how we can grow the team, grow the revenue impact for the business. And then at the intersection of all of this is what we call shared KPIs from a business standpoint. So product market fit, net promoter score, the success rate of experiments, and how does that communicate up to the senior leadership to help them make better data-driven decisions. As a growth designer, yes, you are doing these experiments to be able to bring in more revenue for growth, but you're also the person that really helps to bring the data together to bring it up the channel of communication to help senior leaders make better decisions much faster as well. So all of this comes together to improve what you do as a growth designer. So the key thing I want to share with you is that all of this comes together to help you be a more impactful growth designer. And if you'd love to know more, just click on the link below to book a call with me. And if you want to have a chat about how we can implement these into your business, and if you're a designer looking to level up your skills and you just want some insights and some guidance, yeah, just book a chat and let's have a conversation. And I'd love to help you level up to become a growth designer to help drive real impact in the businesses that you work with and just level up your product design skills to that next level. So I hope this makes sense. Have a great day and take care. Bye-bye.